Good afternoon. You know what time it is. It's coffee time. That's right, with Michael Sanchez. How's everyone doing today on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon? It's 5:01 p.m. over here on my side. Today's guest, John Michell, calling all the way. We will be calling all the way from Australia. I think it's going to be like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that over there on his side. So let's hope we can get him in so we can talk about his work. The book titled Spring Days in Winter. Spring Days in Winter. It sounds like an interesting title. I know I've had him here before. I think it's been over a year ago. So I don't know if it was here or it was on Blog Talk Radio when I had him. And it was definitely an interesting conversation. Uh, we talked about his earlier novel. It's pretty cool. Um, I said I will bring him back here to talk about his new one, Spring Days in Winter. And I like the title. I like the cover as well. It's a pretty cool type cover. And I know he's been in and out, traveling quite a bit. Does a lot of traveling over there in his neck of the woods. Must be an interesting life, that's for sure. He's written several novels, and so he likes what he does. Travels around, talk about his, shows his work out there, talks about his work. Very interesting. Very interesting author. John Michelle. I hope I'm saying that right. Michell. John Michelle. I think that's right there. All right. All the way from Australia. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing okay. It's been an interesting day. You guys out there who love baseball, which I do, just found out that the manager was let go from the Phillies. Kind of shocking. I was not expecting that. Not expecting that at all. I was like, whoa. Too early in the season for that, but I guess it was the perfect time to wake them up because they're just not doing so hot. They're not doing hot at all. So I was like, whoa. They already had their interim manager already have him in there, so it probably was set up that way. Who knows? I wonder what the topic would, what title it would be for the Phils right now. The losers. That'll probably be the title of the book, the losers. Yeah, because they're just doing terrible. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's happening now? One year they're doing fantastic, and the next year they're like, geez, what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? Anyway, again, we're waiting for author John Michell. We'll be calling all the way from Australia. We can talk about his work, Spring Days in Winter. Um, I know he's excited. I know he was excited. Kept in touch with me about getting in the show. Let's see. Let's see if maybe he left me a message. Let's see. He said he's there. He said he's on the link. Let's see. He said he's on the link. He's on the link. Sometimes authors they have a hard time understanding the email that gets sent to them, the invitation email. Um, Sometimes I just don't see where it says join as guest on the email. Hopefully he sees that. We can get him in here. Trying, that's for sure. Let's see what he does over there on his side. Let's see. John, get in here, John. Get in here. Let's see if I can maybe find him on my side. John, there you go. I see him. There you go. I see him. Let's see if I can get him in here. He's in there. John, I see you there. Come on in, hit that button. Hit the button, John. Right there, I see him in the studio. John, come on in. Come on, John. I see him right there. He's like right there. Send you the invite. You see it. You see it, John. Wonder if he sees that on his side. See, I can't see what's happening on their side, so it's difficult to figure out what's happening over there on this side. John, I'm sure. Do you see the green light, John? Do you see the green light? Let's see. John, I'm sure he's looking right there. Sure he's looking. Anyway, put on pause and see if I can get him in here. Let's see. All right, I'm back in here. Again, we're still trying to get John in here. He is trying. I do see him in the studio. It's one of the listeners, but for some reason, he's having a hard time getting in. He's trying. Come on, John. Get in here, John. I wish I could help him out from my side. Like I said, all I can do is send them the invite, and it's up to them to hit the button, whatever that is, whatever that button is over there on their side. Like I said, I don't see it. I'd like to get him here so we can talk about his work. Again, his book titled "Spring Days in Winter." Spring Days in Winter. There's more to it than just that. He's trying. Let's see. He's texting me here. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, he says he can hear me. Yeah, I definitely there should be a prompt there that says co-host, join as co-host. See if you see that there. It's got to be there. I've been sending you an invite. You see when I send the invite, I don't know if it's a green light or whatnot. You just press on that, and you should be able to get in if you can hear me. Boy, I wish I was on his side so I could see what's happening over there on his neck of the woods. But yeah, he's trying. He says he can hear me. I'm sure he's looking for it. It's right there, John. It should be something there that says join as co-host. Should be. I don't know if it's on top of the page there that you're looking at. I'm not sure. It's hard. I can't tell from my side. Figure it out. I can begin. Sure, you eventually figure it out. There again, saying that, oh, yesterday I finally sent out, I had finished my, my manuscript. It's been over 2.5 years in the making. Finally got it done. I was like, wow, what a relief. I mean, it was like all this weight off my shoulders. Finally had it edited, and now I sent it out. A nice video that I made, so people could check it out. What to expect? A nice blurb that I did there. Nice video showing the what the cover's going to look like once it's finally published, and I think it's going to be neat. I'm really excited, and people who've read the series, the Vine Street series, will understand what I'm talking about. It's a pretty cool series. They got Vine Street, and then Vine Street, what lies on the rooftops. Especially that second one was pretty awesome. Uh, so paperback and also on audio, which was narrated by Stephen P. Ham. He did a fantastic job. Yes, he did. So I'm excited about that. So this time around, wrote the third and final version. It's called Vine Street, the Return of the Groundskeeper. And, it's pretty much an interesting story. Uh, a young adult, but young adult, almost like a Stand By Me almost type story, but much different. So it's gonna be it's an interesting story, and I'm excited. I can't wait till I have it in the published version, paperback, whatnot, and I'm excited. I can't wait. Anyway, I send it out on all the websites, especially the ones that I joined on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. So I'm excited. Some of the folks again that are familiar with the books and the stories are very excited and they can't wait. They can't wait. Had a couple of beta readers reading it. One of them really gave me high scores on that. That really was exciting just to hear this author, great author who's I've been following her work, and she follows me. And as a matter of fact, she's one of my guests, one of the panels that come here, and very insightful, knows her stuff. So to hear from her was exciting, very exciting. John, I sent you again. I sent you another invite there. Just look for that button. It's got to be there. The button that says co-host. Join as co-host. I hope you're using your phone because if you're using the laptop or computer, it's going to give you a very difficult time. So try to use your phone if you can. That is the best way to go. But if you're using a laptop or computer, it's really going to give you a hard time. So try it. Try the phone if you're not using it. Try that. That's the best route. Because again, these computers and laptops and whatnot, it's just I don't know something about them. The app doesn't work well on those things. So I would definitely want you to use the phone. Use the phone. That's the best option if you're not using it. If you're not using it. It says no live chat on this show. If you can hear me, John, it's live. That means I'm on. It's on. If I were you, I would get out and go right back in. Sometimes you might have to reset your phone if that might be the problem. See if you can do that. Um, these computers, these technical stuff. I tell you, try to get out again and go back in and see what happens. Sometimes you might have to reset your phone. You might have to power it off and turn it back on. I mean, it's technical stuff. Technical. And again, he's trying. Author calling all the way from Australia, and wow, I mean, early in the morning hours for him to over there. I think it's like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I don't know, but it's very early in the morning over there in Australia. compared to the time here. It's about 5:16 here. So yeah, early in the morning. And drink up that coffee, John, and get you going. He's trying. He's trying. My good friend there is trying. He says he hears me. Anyway, again, yeah, I'm very excited. Hope you folks out there are have seen the new video that I did showcasing the new cover. It's a nice cover, real nice cover, and nice video, and the blurb is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's definitely it'll get your attention once you read it. So, and as a matter of fact, when you look at the whole at the cover that I'll be using once the finished product is done, it's gonna be really nice, and I'm excited. I can't wait for the last and final um, story of little Mickey, little Mickey and his bad dreams. You know what I mean? Those bad dreams, those nightmares. Are they really finally over? Who knows? Who knows? But I know that this series is done. So it's the third and final. And again, I say it's over, but is it really over? Who knows? Little Mickey's young still. He has to grow. He still has to grow up. So who knows? Maybe I'll decide to write more about Little Mickey. Other adventures and whatnot. Who knows? Who knows? Again, guys, I'm sorry for the wait. My friend there, my good friend there, calling over from Australia, John Michell's I guess he's having technical issues. Trying to get in, won't let him in. Not the first time, it's happened to other authors too. So who knows? And he's the author of Spring Days in Winter. Spring Days in Winter. But of course, there's more to the book than what the title says. So more to it than that. Very interesting. Very interesting story. And I really want him to get in here so he can talk about it. Really want him to get in. Who knows what's going on? John! John! John. He says he's trying. Ah, let's see. I guess I don't know if I'm able to call him here. If you can hear him, I don't know. Don't know. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Maybe we can hear him this way because I don't know what other way to go. Let's see. Let's see. I'm calling him using Messenger. Let's see if he'll pick up. Let's see. Darling. Technology. Well, imagine, we're calling all the way through Australia, so yeah, he's trying. Yeah, I know, Bernie. I know. We're having issues here. Having issues. Let's see, my friend. Let's see. Hey, see if you see that prompt there. It says guest, join as guest. That's the only thing I can tell you is just press that button, join as guest or co-host, and you should be able to get in. Let's see. John, you there?
John, you there? You there?
Yeah, we're getting echoes here.
Yeah, we're getting echoes here. Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
You 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 can't get the you can't push the button.
I cannot see any button that allows me to join.
Wow. Wow, that's a shame.
Wow, that's a shame. because I just clicked on the link and it's taken me to your page, and I can see the episode and I can hear you talking, but I just can't see any way that I can join it.
Wow. Now, are you using your phone or a laptop?
I'm using the phone and the laptop. I'm on the phone now.
Yeah, turn off the laptop.
All right, I'll turn it off. All right. It's all turned off.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Want to tell you the folks here about your story. Let's see if we can go this route. Let's see if hopefully they can hear you. Tell them about your story.
Okay, it's very faint, this call. I don't know why, but can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Well, look, I'm very sorry about this. I don't know. I've not used this Podbean thing before, and I'm clearly, I accept I'm doing something wrong, but what it is, I don't know, because I just can't see any logical way that I can join you.
Very interesting.
I can hear you, and it's on the, anyway. But look, thank you very much for having me on, and thanks for putting up with all this stuff with the technology. It's
not your fault. Not your fault.
When it doesn't work. But look, I've put out another book, Michael, which is called Spring Days in Winter, as you've been talking about, and it's a really a love story set in a Cold War spy fiction setting. About a man who has tragedy in his life and then finds love, and then when that love story falls apart, things get very bad for him, and he comes around to the fact that he's convicted of murder. It's a long story, but I won't give out all the plot. He's convicted of murder, and he's just decided that he will die with dignity rather than rot away in jail. And so that's basically where it ends. He's a man that's run out of dreams, and it's his ability to regain some dignity by electing to die as he has. And
oh wow!
It's as I say, it's all to do with the love story, with the tragedy in his life and the love he found, and the fact that went off the rails, and that's left him. But there's some spying in there as well. So there's a lot in there for everyone.
Interesting. Now, where in what era did this take place?
Okay, now that's a good question. It's set in basically the 1960s. And one of the reasons I wrote this book was when I discovered that capital punishment was abolished in Britain in 1969, but not in Northern Ireland until 1973. So there's a couple of years later that Northern Ireland. So the United Kingdom didn't go as once. So I decided that I would write a book around that fact about a man who is actually sentenced in Northern Ireland because the death penalty is still available, and that's where he gets the death penalty, and that's why he decides not to appeal that death penalty to defend it, because he's decided that that's enough, and he wants to die with dignity. But the idea for the book came about from when I discovered there was that across the United Kingdom, it wasn't capital punishment for murder wasn't abolished all at the same time. Northern Ireland was 3 or 4 years later.
Interesting. Now, I know you travel quite a few places now. Have you traveled over there in that area? They give you the motivation, the insight.
Yeah, I have been there. It's not so much, I guess, my travels there that have done it. I mean, it helps to have a vision of the place and that sort of stuff. So that helps with the writing of it. But it was more to do with the fact that I was that I discovered, which I hadn't known before, but I discovered that Northern Ireland didn't abolish the death penalty at the same time that the rest of Great Britain. So that was where the germ of the idea to write the book came from. Then I had to put a plot together, and as I said, it starts off with a man who his future looks bright, has tragedy in his life, then finds love, and that goes on for a long time, and but all of a sudden that turns bad, and it leads to a lot of bad circumstances for him, and he ends up being sent to Northern Ireland, where he's sentenced to death, and that's where he makes the decision that he will die with dignity.
Interesting. So, how much research did you do there before you wrote it?
Oh, look, I heard you. Excuse me. While you were waiting for me to try and get on the line, I heard you saying that your own writing had been 2.5 years or something for a manuscript that you've just finished yourself.
Yeah.
And I'd say I was around about the same time. I've published 5 books now, and I've put one out for the last decade. I've put one out about every 2 years. So I'd say the writing of this took me 2 years. Yes, there is a lot of research that goes into it, and I mean, research is a lot easier these days. There was a time you used to have to go to the venue and see for yourself and all that sort of stuff. But with the internet these days, you can actually go there without travelling, which is handy. But a lot of it is based. You're correct when you say that over the years I've travelled to a lot of places, and a lot of it is to do with memories that I have of of places that I've visited. So it's a bit of a combination of both. But for refreshing your memory, there's or looking at some places that it's quite easy to do it on the internet. I'm sure most people do it like that these days.
Gotcha. So, how much of you is in this story, if any?
That's a very shrewd question. That's a shrewd question. Look, the fact of the matter is, Michael, I'm not a young man anymore, sadly, but and I've done a lot of things in my life, mostly good, I have to say. But when I come to this dying with dignity bit, there is a little bit of me in there. It's a work of fiction, so a lot of it is my imagination.
Right.
But the dying with dignity bit is like I'm not seriously ill or anything, so I'm not going to fall over the next week. But eventually the time will come, and I know that. And and you get to a point when you get to a certain age, I think it becomes more realistic or more obvious to you that this is going to happen. Because when you're younger, you know one day that you will die.
Yeah.
And it seems so far away that you think it will never happen. But unfortunately, I'm at a stage now where I realise that in the next decade or something like that, then that's probably it for me. And I like the idea of this dying with dignity. I might add that it's not a morbid book in so much. There's a bit of sentimentality in there, I suppose, but it's not a morbid book. I've injected what I think is a bit of humour into it in places there because, it's a sort of a case of laughing in the face of adversity, and that's what he does. And that's part of his dying with dignity, and that whole dying with dignity is something that quite appeals to me. I don't know exactly why it does and whether I'll be able to achieve that when the time comes, but it is something that I think I hold quite important, and so I've reflected it in this fictional character.
Interesting. Now, how many pages we're talking about?
How many pages?
Yes, sir.
Come out?
Yeah.
It shrinks down a bit when they put it in the book. I'm just looking at it now to see what the last page is. 265, Michael.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. What are we talking about? 60,000, 65,000?
No, it was 88,000 words.
88,000. Oh, okay. So that's a pretty good novel.
Yeah, 31 chapters, yeah. And like I said, in the draft, it was well over 300 pages, but it's a bit of a combination between saving costs in publishing and all that sort of thing, but they shrink it down a bit when they put it into the book.
Gotcha. So, now, did you do an outline?
So that's, what's that?
Did you do an outline?
Yeah, well, there's a back cover blurb that that goes into the book. I think I could send you the image of that, but that's basically the summary of it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, but yeah, no, like I said, it was, I think from memory, I remember counting, doing the word count on the computer. It was 88,740 words.
That's quite a bit,
and,
yeah.
Some 330 pages or something, and it shrunk down to 265 by the time they put it in the book.
Now,
But, look,
did you have any
sorry,
say so into how many pages should be there or what, or the publisher said no, this is what we're gonna do?
Well, we talked about it, and of course, cost comes into it. If people were buying the book off Amazon, if there's more pages, it costs them more to buy it.
Right.
So it was a balance between production costs and looking at sales and things like that of people buying the book and being able to keep the price down. So I was really guided by the publisher, which is I have this publisher out of the United Kingdom. I'm an Australian, of course, but I've written about English settings in most of my books, and he was very good, and he explained all that to me, and I thought, well, fair enough. I mean, yeah, look, it's like everything this day and age, Michael. It just seems that the cost of everything just seems to be going up. So really, what we're driven by was an attempt to reduce the costs to the extent possible, and as I said, that's why we decided. We even looked at the size of the book. It's a standard 6-inch by 9-inch book, but we even looked at a smaller book. But again, that would produce more pages, and with it would lead to increased costs. So we just decided to keep the costs down to the extent we could.
Gotcha. Now, is it a soft cover, paperback?
It's a paperback, and it's got a gloss cover, and it's one of the best decisions I've made. It was my decision to do the gloss cover, not the matte cover, because the photograph is, which you would have seen it. I sent it to you, is of this panorama.
Yes, nice. I like it.
It's supposed to be symbolic. There's sun and nice fields and that in the foreground, and then a big storm in the background. And this is symbolic of what I call these good days are spring and these bad days are winter, and the storm coming in the background are the bad days rolling in. That's the general idea, the symbolism of the cover. That's in gloss, and it comes up very well. It scrubs up very well. I'm quite pleased with it.
When did you realize you wanted to write this story?
Now, I published a book about 2 years ago, and then had a little bit of a break. And I must confess, I really love the writing, but a lot of the publicity stuff I find a bit of a strain sometimes. But it's got to be done, and that applies, even to humble authors like me and very successful people. They've still got to be out there selling the book. But it really, I think the answer to that question is when I mentioned before about when I discovered this discrepancy between the abolishment of capital punishment in Britain and Northern Ireland, this difference in time of a couple of years, and I thought, gee, that's an interesting hook to set up a book.
Yeah.
And so I started writing some stuff about that, and yourself, you write, you write a few pages and you think, oh, that's not really working, and you go in another direction, and in the end, it sort of all starts to take shape. And the more shape it takes, the more you get it into some sort of order, and then the storyline develops. And often you've got to change your storyline to fit what you want to do, and then other ideas come into it. And in the end, I guess, people like you and I have got fertile minds, I think.
Yeah.
We think about various things that might fit into books, and there's a number of ideas that I've had over the years of even sort of like, say, for police novels or something like that, which I've never written one, but I've thought about it. But certain ideas that I might have carried from those thoughts sort of ended up in this book, which and it's a matter of then moulding those ideas to fit the book.
Yeah.
which is not all that difficult often. You've got a broad idea what you want to say, and you just adjust to fit with what you're doing. So,
Yeah, it's funny because people have asked me, well, how do you know when it ends? I'm like, well, I mean, because if you add more to it just to give it more numbers, more, it really screws up the story. So it's like your mind already knows, already
that's
set.
true.
Yeah,
That's true. That is absolutely true. Now I wanted to trace this bloke's journey. It's written in first person, which
right.
is often a little bit difficult. But I thought through a story of this type, it made it more personal. Like it is at the end of the day, a man's life, and he's at the end of his life, and so he's got to. It's got to be told. You can't tell it from a distance. You've got to be the person telling the story. So, and that always has its challenges when you're writing in first person because then you don't have this omnipresent knowledge or omnipotence, as they call it. Where you know what people are thinking. So you've got to explain why you think certain people are acting this way and all this sort of stuff. So but it was terrific to write it. I really do enjoy it, and once you get over that hump of the draft and you know where you're going, it's really quite a pleasurable experience. I suppose I probably spent about the last 9 months or so doing edits to the book, and even when I sent the manuscript to the publisher, I was still driving them mad by asking for a word to be changed here and there. I think that's pretty standard for writers.
Gosh. I don't know if I've asked you this before, but what would you say is your most interesting writing work? QUIRK.
My most interesting writing work.
Yep.
Okay, look, what I tend to do is write conversationally. Different people write different ways, but I think my best writing is in the first person because, and others have said this, so I'm using their words, but I have this conversational style, and it's quite a whether that's a quirk, I don't know whether you'd call it a quirk, but I have a conversational style where I think I write in a relaxed and, dare I say, it's sort of Australian way, laid back Australian way, and I think that is attractive to readers. So
Gotcha.
call that a quirk or a style or whatever you like, but I guess that's my quirk, and sometimes you've got to be careful not to use too many words and not get too sort of flippant in the writing. So different times you've got to look for sentences that need to be fixed up. But I think that's my quirk would be that I write best when I write in first person because I can write conversationally. And I write this book. I often I'm speaking to the reader. I say it in various places. I actually address the reader and say, you'll understand what I'm trying to say here, or words to that effect anyway.
That's cool.
And I think that engages the reader. It's like all books, Michael, that some people will respond to it, others won't. I hope more respond than don't. But I think that's the writing quirk that suits me best, and I think this book, like I say, it's my fifth, and I'm sure you'd agree with this. You get better as you go along. You realise what works and what doesn't work, and I'm very happy with it. I'm not sure that my explanation I've given to you is really doing justice to the book, but it's a very powerful book, and it's got a lot of, what would I say, a lot of sort of human emotion in it. In fact, real things that affect people in life. It is fiction, I acknowledge that, but I still draw on a lot of issues that affect people in their lives, career and loves and likes of people, dislikes of people, and all this sort of thing. So I am very, very pleased with it. Um, where I go from here, I don't know whether I write another one or not, because by writing it the way I have, there's sort of almost a final conclusion to it. So whether I continue or not, I don't know. But I'm very. I'll think about that in due course. I'm sure. I'm sorry. I so enjoy the writing, I'll probably go back to something I would think. But for now, that's it. And it's sort of like a concluding novel because, as I said, the dying minute, I emphasise that I haven't, as we say here in Australia, I haven't got one foot on a banana skin. I'm not going to fall over tomorrow. But I'm very conscious of the fact that my life is coming to an end, and I've written a book to sort of reflect that.
Interesting. You know what? It is funny because I've been thinking about the same thing the last several weeks. And this will be my fifth book, and I don't know if this will be the last one. I mean,
So we're sort of much the same. You were a bit particular now, so you probably get a bit more interested.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I got Jeff Otis here, author Jeff Otis. Oh, Jeff, you got a question there?
No, I just, well, my question is why can't I subtract two numbers? Because I used your invitation time in military time and thought it was going to be 5 o'clock my time, not 3 o'clock. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
better late than never.
Oh, apparently Jeff been having issues as well. Okay, hold on. Let's see. He doesn't have a question. He's just been having issues trying to get in. So anyway,
Right,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
So the other question is, how does family and friends think about the book? What do they think about?
Well, it's only been out since the 21st of April, so yeah, look, there's quite a few copies sold of it, and a lot of those have been people who know me, who follow my writing, but it's probably too early yet for any feedback. I haven't had, I think in just about every case, people will be still reading the book. I spoke to a fellow on Saturday. Today, it's Thursday morning here in Australia, Wednesday night your time. There in, are you in South Carolina or North
Yeah,
Carolina?
South Carolina. Yeah.
South Carolina, yeah. So it's still Wednesday night where you are. But I spoke to a fellow I went through law school with um, on Saturday, and he bought a copy of the book. He told me he bought a copy of the book, but he hadn't yet started reading it. So I think he's a good example. He's symptomatic of people starting to hold the book and starting to read it. So I haven't had much in the way of feedback from it yet. I expect it'll be pretty much like other books that you'll get feedback that's good, you'll get feedback that is not so good because it's just a fact of life that I doubt anyone's ever, even the greatest writer of all time, has written a book that will appeal to every person. So, but I'm hopeful of getting a strong response to it because, like I said, I am my own hardest critic. Yet I would say this is quite easily my best book, I think,
Got you.
and that's being as objective as I can.
Got you. Jeff, can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you
Can
have
you hear
a? Yeah,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if my guest can. Again, we're using the phone, so I don't know if he can hear
Okay.
you. You have a question for him?
Well, I heard you say, John, that you're your own worst critic, and I think that's very healthy. I try to be my worst critic. Of course, if you're your worst critic, then you beat everybody else to the punch. But on the other hand, I try also to trust myself and know that okay, if a particular scene is supposed to evoke a certain emotion, if I'm feeling it, then I have to allow that trust to be there that it's going to read that way to others, assuming I've done my editing and
No. That's totally correct. You've got to back yourself at times. I couldn't agree more, Jeff. And I think I think the other thing too is that when you write, you have a feeling when the words are right. Somehow or other, they come back off the page to you, and tell you that this is the right words to you. You know, your writing style. So
Yeah.
yeah, you've definitely got to back yourself. I mean, at the same time, you listen to others, try to keep your mind open. But I think when it comes down to the final crunch, that you've got to back yourself, and and that's all you can do. And I think that's the right approach.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So what do you think was the most surprising thing you learned when you were creating this book or any of your books?
What's the most surprising thing? I think, well, surprises. I don't know, but sometimes you get into areas where you get a real run along, and it's really working for you. And other times you get into areas that you don't. And I think there can be a tendency at times to plod along in stuff that's not working. And I think really the thing that is surprising, I suppose I'd say to me, is that sometimes when I've written something and I know it's not quite right, that I am a bit reluctant to change it because I feel, I sort of say to myself, oh yeah, no, that'll be all right, that'll be all right. But I think you've got to be strong with yourself. You've got to say, look, this is just not working, or
Mhm.
what you say
Yeah.
later in the book isn't really consistent with what you said earlier in the book.
Right.
And I have a saying, Michael, that no words are sacrosanct.
Right.
And you might write in some stage of the book a fabulous paragraph you really like, and it's a gripping, absorbing paragraph. But if it doesn't fit with the rest of the book, you've got to be ruthless and be prepared to take it out. And
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so I guess the surprising thing I'd have to say is that the times that you've got to discipline yourself, um, and just make sure that you're doing the right thing and not be prepared to settle for something that you think may work, but go back and be 100% sure that it does work. And it's perhaps you're talking of surprises. Perhaps the surprising thing is how rewarding that is when you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I often have to speak to myself almost to say, well, what are you doing this for? You know, stop writing it and go back and fix it up.
Yeah. 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 That is interesting. Jeff,
Yeah.
you hear John talk about change,
Hmm.
changing. So,
Who,
what do you think about that?
I'm trying to remember who it is that said you've got to kill off your darlings. Was that Hemingway or who was it?
Yes. Yeah.
But sometimes,
Right. Yeah. That's right.
yeah.
So, Jeff,
So sometimes you do have to do that, and they are your darlings. You know, it's something you created, so it's hard, and it's also really hard because you're weaving a story. It's not a linear, where you connect one thing to another thing and you keep going until you have a long line of things. It's more like a fabric. And so a scene or a character or an important part of your or a part of your story is connected to many other things. And so when you take it out, it's sort of like making a hole in a fabric. How do you then rejoin all the strands so that it still reads smoothly? That's the challenge. But I think you're absolutely right, John. You got to do it if it's just not working.
what say you,
Yeah,
John?
no, that is 100%. That is exactly what I am saying, and that's right. And Michael asked about surprises, and I guess the surprise I had was how difficult I find to do that at times because you get so attracted. As you say, they're your darlings. You know, you've written something back there and you think it's really spiritual. And, but if it doesn't fit, it's going to get on the head. That's as simple as that.
Very interesting. Um, do you have suggestions for writers like me or other authors that are trying, to write stories like you get better at it? Any ideas? Any suggestions?
Oh, look, yes, I would say if I was giving advice to anyone, and how well placed I am to give someone like you advice, I'm not sure, but basically, uh, I think you can't do enough editing. It's a mistake to say, "Oh, well, I think this is perfect. Um, I've knocked out all this. I've done all this. I've done all that, and all the rest of it." But I think even now with the book that's out, fortunately there's only a couple of very minor points, but I've already identified two places, and it's only a matter of one extra word or one less word or something. But there's two places I've identified that if I had my chance again, I would change it. So you can't go on editing forever because the book will never come out. But at the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
time, you can't be too
yeah.
rough. You've prepared to spend a good period of time doing the editing. Whether it's, and I'm talking, nearly 12 months. I think I edited non-stop in this book for about 9 months
Wow.
before it got published. So, but look, there's rewards in that because it's so pleasing. It's so pleasing when it comes out and you open it up at just a random page and you look at it and you think back, yes, I remember how I agonised over this and all the rest of it, but then you realise that it's really reading well.
Gotcha.
And that's a great reward for having done the work. So, Michael, for any writer, I would simply say you've just got to edit. You've just got to edit. For very successful writers, they have a lot of people doing editing for them. And I'm not sure at the end of the day how helpful that is to them. I mean, by that stage, they're selling books just on their name, not so much on the content. But I think when you're doing the editing yourself, you get a very authentic version of yourself. But if someone else is doing the editing, I think that could show up in a book. So I'll give an example here, which John le Carre, who I think is perhaps the greatest writer of all time, particularly given the Cold War spy fiction stuff I write. But when he died writing his last book, his son finished it. And it really struck me how different the front part of the book and the back part of the book were with different writing styles. I'm not saying the writing was bad or the story lacked consistency or anything like that. It's just that the writing style subtly changed. And I think that's the sort of thing that can happen when other people get their fingers too much into your book.
Yeah, yeah,
Sure,
yep.
listen to suggestions. Should be silly not to, because other people can have suggestions.
Right.
And sometimes there's got to be factual corrections if there's things wrong that other people can rectify. Well, of course, they should be rectified. But basically, I think it's doing this editing and putting your own stamp on it, and then your work stands authentically as you. And I
There you
think if
go.
there's anything can be said for people like me who, not starting out, but still standing on my own feet without a great institutional, big publishing company behind me or anything like that with all its resources, then I think the thing I would say is that the book is authentically me, and I think that works.
There you go. So, John, if folks wanted to find you, where can they find you, John?
Well, the the publishers put it out. It's available. It can be ordered through any number of bookstores in the US. I know, to pick one just off the top of my head, Barnes and Noble is one that's running it. But I have to say honestly that Amazon's as easy as anything. Um, they'll find it there in Kindle and paperback on Amazon, spring days and winter. So yeah, if people want to go into a bookstore and order it through a bookstore, they can do that. But basically, it's online, and people can just search for it or go to Amazon and search for it, and they'll find it there.
Nice. Do you have a website for our audience?
No, look, I did once have a website, but I never really used it. And so no, I made it. I'm more on Facebook and Instagram. That's where
Gotcha.
you'll find me.
So they can find you on Facebook and Instagram. The handles, is it your name?
Yeah, it's Instagram is John underscore Michell 88. That's John underscore 88. John underscore Michell 88. I'm sorry. And on Facebook, they can just search for me as John Michell. And I think I'm the only one there. So, and they'll see all my posts about the book anyway. They'll know when they've got the right account.
Nice, nice. Well, John, guess what? You owe me another interview.
This technology stuff drives you crazy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fabulous when it works.
Yes, yes, yes.
I need a tutorial. I don't know why I couldn't get it, Michael, but listen, thanks for your patience, mate. I mean, that's been terrific, and we've managed to get it done, and that's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna send you this audio, and I'm gonna send it out all over the place so people hear it. But I'm definitely gonna bring you back. You owe me another interview.
All right, mate. Will do.
All
Thank you
right.
very much. Have a good evening.
Have a good one. All right.
Take care.
Wow, that was John Michell, the author of Spring Days in Winter. Jeff, what took you so long?
Yes. What took me so long?
Yeah, what took you so
I
long?
I thought it was at 5 this
It
evening, my
was at
time,
five. Yes.
Mountain
Oh, you're
time. But
talking about mountain time.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, just got my math wrong, but luckily, I suddenly dawned on me that I had made a mistake. So I tuned in as soon as I could. I'm glad I
Well, I
did.
appreciate it. I do appreciate these time zones are really screw you up. You know what I mean? I mean, the gentleman's
Yeah.
calling all the way from Australia. Here you are. You're calling from where? Arizona
Me, I'm
or
in
New
New
Mexico?
Mexico.
Oh, you're in New Mexico. Look at that. You know what I mean? We're all over the place. So
Yeah,
it's about
yes,
to
yes,
happen.
we are.
All
Yeah,
right.
writers are everywhere.
That's right. But I'm happy you came in and to join us. And again, he was having issues, but he just could not get in. But I finally, you know what? Let me just use this phone and hopefully it'll work. So, but you heard him pretty clear, right?
I had to really focus to hear them. Sometimes, if you speak on a phone, what is it? Where it's out loud, the phone
Yep.
broadcasts the speaker.
You hear the
Speaker, that's
echo.
what it's called. When you use speaker, it doesn't communicate as well. So I wonder if he was on speakerphone.
Yeah, I had to put him on speaker because that's the only way we were able to hear him. Yeah.
Oh, you mean without
Yeah.
speakerphone, you couldn't hear him at all?
You can barely hear him. Yes. Yeah, you can barely hear him because I had to
Oh,
use
oh,
talk to him through Messenger. So yeah, imagine that. Yes.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Anyway,
well, that,
it was great that you joined, and I guess until next time, bring you back, and this time you get the times right, right?
yeah, I'll try. I owe it to you to get the times right. I,
He's
I and
always
I,
saying, you now, you know he's going to do that.
I saw the title of the podcast, Spring Days in Winter, and I thought that was the topic of conversation, not the name of a book. But we're going to talk
Yeah,
about spring days in winter. And I was trying to think, what was that? Is that some sort of metaphor having to do with
yeah,
writing?
yeah.
And I was really,
It's a pretty cool title, and the cover looks pretty neat. But anyway, we got to
yeah.
get out of here, and until next time, Jeff,
All right. Thank you, Michael.
you have a great one.
You too. Bye bye.
All right, so it was a great show, and again, John Michelle, the author of Spring Days and Winter. Having a difficult time getting in, but he got in, and that's all that matters. And I'll bring him back to listen more to him. He's pretty cool. Calling all the way from Australia. Anyway, it's been a great show, and again, I'm sorry, folks out there, about the technical issues, but we still got him in, and I had a great time. Anyway, you know what I say? Don't forget your coffee. Have an awesome, awesome rest of the day.